Sorry about that. I had muted myself. So I was talking to myself, but that's okay. I'm extremely intelligent, so I am in good need of the information. Can you hear me, Reverend Sharon?
I can hear you.
Ah,
Nice. Okay. Gonna take.
okay. Yeah, no, I didn't realize that I had muted myself accidentally, I guess. Uh, hopefully, I wouldn't try and sabotage myself. I was I was explaining about the oracles at Delphi and how you are a master from the Delphi school.
Yes. That is.
Yes,
Oh my goodness. Yes. My alma mater.
your alma mater. Okay, and to just to rehash what I was saying before when I was talking to myself.
Oh,
uh,
long as you didn't answer back, you were
yeah,
okay.
well, no, I haven't gone down that rabbit hole yet.
Good.
But Delphi, people don't realize that in Greek mythology, Delphi was the term that was basically uh, to represent a different dimension.
Mm-hmm.
It was considered to be a dimension that was set apart by the gods, where certain individuals who connected with the gods were able to translate messages that came through. So to be in that particular dimension, one had to be. Oh, we have another one. There we go. Hi, Sherry. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I think. Okay, great. Reverend Sharon is on as well. Um,
Hi, Sherry.
I'm.
Hi, how are
uh,
you? Seen you in a while.
Wonderful. How are you?
okay, and I'm waiting for Ed, who should be signing in shortly. Ed is the CEO and founder of the Universal Qigong and Tai Chi Institute.
Mm.
Robert says that he will be coming in perhaps a little late, but I was just going over the fact that Greek mythology designated the term Delphi as a holding space for demigods, and that simply means, well, we know what that means. Someone's half god or goddess and half human,
Mm.
and this is where they connected for that information. They translated that information from the gods to the humans in that space and time continuum. So, Reverend Sharon,
Yay.
another Reverend Sharon, who is a master from Delphi, has fine tuned her abilities and uh, has a great deal of experience with healing.
Yeah.
And this is what I've been told this particular series and this or program in this series is supposed to really focus on the healing abilities that we each have within ourselves. So, this particular modality of healing, I experienced some really great energy when Ed was working on me on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
And I purchased the Qigong DVD.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I really started getting into it last night, and I noticed that I was shifting. And how you can tell that you're shifting, uh, basically, is if you're in the middle of doing something like a work, or you're in an area where the energy is just, I don't usually use this word, but spot on, as they say. Um, damn, it's a word. And you start yawning,
Mm-hmm.
that is your cue. You are shifting. Your patterns are shifting. Your entire uh, set of portals. And I say set of portals because everyone has a set of portals in their light body. And so as you begin to yawn, these portals are arranging and aligning in your consciousness, even though you may not say, oh, I recognize this, that, or the other. Just go with the flow, with the yawning, and accept that it is a part of who you are as far as connecting all of your chakras. I call them portals. And once I found out, oh wait, okay. 1 second.
Yes.
Okay, we are expecting Ed in just a moment. Uh, that was him. Sorry to have to put you guys on hold. But you know, when you're dealing with this Reverend Sharon, I'm from so many different schools. I can't even claim one to to use as a scapegoat for my behavior. Oh, it's not about them, it's about me at this particular point in time. Okay. All right, let's do a quick meditation
Alrighty.
to sort of set ourselves in the motion because we're going to be, this is something that has been planned, right, Sherry?
Yes.
The information is coming in at a rapid rate, and I see that we have Master Edward with us.
Hey, good evening.
Good evening, good evening. And I was just about to give, this is my favorite meditation.
Awesome.
Closing the eyes and directing your eyes under the eyelids. Okay, we're going to let the eyelids just flutter for a moment. We don't have to completely close them, but we are going to direct our eyes upward. Visualize the third eye, the space, the portal between the eyebrows, and take in a deep breath. When we release that breath, taking it in through the nostrils, releasing it through parted lips, take the tip of your tongue, placing it as far back to the template, far back, as far back as if you're reaching for that golden lotus of nectar that is just at the beginning of your throat. Palms upward, gentle breathing. Inhale and hold for the count of 3, releasing through parted lips. And breathe. This is not a feel good or not feel good meditation. This is the acclamation of soul, body, and mind. Light body. All of the portals, the chakras within your being aligning as you breathe. Hands palm upwards. Bringing it again. Inhaling through the nostrils. Holding for the count of 3. Releasing through parted lips. With the next inhalation, we claim the sound that resonates from the center of the universe. Om. Breathe again. Om. Once again. Om. And holding that breath, allowing your center to connect with that center, that vibration, knowing the sound of who you are. You generate a frequency of light and love, and breathe. Last frequency, the very last frequency for now. Om. Breathing deeply, releasing through the parted lips. You may open your eyes as your heart desires. Claiming whatever information you received this evening to be whatever you expect it to be. For we all know the truth. We are all a part of a continuum that has simply forgotten its true worth. The most important thing that we can remember now is the love. And so we breathe. And good evening, Ed. I'm so glad you could make it. I've got a couple of people that say that they're coming in late. But
I'm glad to be here. Thank you. I apologize for the delays. It's just technical challenges, but we overcame them. So delighted to be with you this evening.
Oh, you're not alone in the technical challenges. For a moment, a split second, I was like, are you guys messing with me or something? Because nothing, Google stopped working. The studio stopped working. It kept giving me double studios. It was fun. I don't want it again, universe. Don't do it again. But it was fun for the time being. But that's how it is. That's what it is. It's not one. Ed is the CEO and founder of the Universal Qigong and Tai Chi Institute. And I had the most fantastic experience on Saturday in one of his classes. And after the class, he gave me marvelous energy. He works as a Qigong healer. And so it's like, Ed, tell us what you do, how you do it. Before I do that, Reverend Sharon and Sherry and Keisha are on. Say hello to Ed.
Hello,
Hi,
Ed.
Ed.
Hi, good evening. Delighted to
Good
be with
evening.
you.
Yeah,
And
there'll be
We're
one or
delighted
two
to
more
have you
coming
with
on a
us.
little later on. But if you would please tell us something about the Institute and about Qigong and how you use that to heal.
well, let me give you a little bit of background. First of all, I started off way back when. My folks were with the State Department, and my father was a Foreign Service officer. So I've had the blessing of choosing a vehicle for this soul that took me all over the world. And I've been to just about every continent except for the North and South poles, and it's been quite a blessing. So it's given me an insight to the world and to people and cultures that is very, very unique. And so as a result of all that travel, which I continued later on as an adult professionally in the financial services industry, I became very exhausted by all the traveling and all of the challenges of being in the corporate world, and was exposed initially to through a friend of mine whose son I was coaching in soccer to reflexology, and the reflexologist introduced me to the Reiki master. The Reiki master took me through the 3 different levels and so on. And then I moved, we came to Florida, and I became very intrigued by Qigong because it afforded me an opportunity to improve my eyesight, because I'm also a general aviation pilot. And I said, well, that sounds pretty interesting. And then one thing led to another, and became very fascinated with the whole, how should I say, the whole protocol of traditional Chinese medicine, and especially the healing component, because I'd been exposed to it through Reiki and found that through Qigong, it actually made me more impactful. Not me, but Source was more impactful, since we only channel Source's energy. And, you go through different levels of it when you start this. So initially, I met up with a Qigong master who was also a very accomplished individual in martial arts, was the Olympic coach for fencing for the Chinese state, mainland China, and had a brief exposure to him, and obviously realized that he was a very unique individual. And his practice was, when he passed on to his, the baton, if you will, was handed on to his assistant, Master Teresa Yen, who I have sponsored down here in Florida numerous times. She lives in Toronto, works in the Toronto area, and wanted to deepen my knowledge about Qigong. And so I've been following her for almost 15 years at this point. So I've been in energy work for over 20 years.
Wow.
And I realized that, in the beginning, we're all very dedicated to learning the forms and learning the techniques and so on. But at the end of the day, it's something that we have to actually forget, because the energy, the chi, the ki, the prana is smarter than we are. So we're the channels, but ultimately the energy does the work. So we have to step back and let our ego, park our ego, if you will, and realize that we're merely a conduit for that energy, and to let that energy work on us personally, number one, and in turn to work on the people that we are blessed of, to help them wherever their needs happen to be, whether it's emotional or physiological or spiritual, and so on. So it is at this point that I'm realizing that I need to park that brain and park my my ego and just let the energy do its work. So I'm very honored for you to say that you felt the energy. But it wasn't me, of course. It was spirit that was doing its work, and it just knew where it needed to go. And with time, of course, with my practice, I've noticed I'm able to pick up the energetic signature that people have in their bodies, whether it's emotional or physical, and focus on that particular area. So sometimes things work themselves out pretty quickly. Sometimes it takes several sessions. But most importantly is I want to empower people to heal themselves.
Ah, there we go.
Because
Shakespeare would say, "Aye, there's the rub." That is the reason for this program, this series in this program, is to, I didn't mean to interrupt you, sweetie, but that mind what you're doing is phenomenal in that that is the message that's coming through right now for so many people.
And absolutely, I mean, this technology, whether it's the techniques that are used in India, yoga, Ayurvedic treatments, naturopathic treatments, shamanic treatments, traditional Chinese medicine, and so on. They've been around for thousands of years, and it takes a curious mind and a courageous person to say, what do I not know that relates to what I'm interested in, to what is my passion? And am I willing to, take a leap into the deep end of the pool, or just to leap off of the top of this peak and allow myself to fly? So it's very exciting and a little frightening at the same time to be out of the mainstream, whatever that is these days, and to explore all these opportunities. And the interesting thing, that old saying that, this, when the student is ready, the master will appear. Well, that's very true. They're all around us all the time.
Yes.
And the wealth of knowledge that they carry with them is absolutely amazing. I want to share with you this one insight that I thought was pretty, I guess, a little disappointing on one hand, and yet, well, because of the knowledge that we have, you and I and others here on this call, not so disheartening, is that traditionally in China, it takes a lifetime of a student to learn maybe 50% of what the master knows. And when the master passes on, that knowledge is lost. So every time that lineage is continued, an amount of knowledge is lost. However, for those of us that are intuitive and are willing to be seekers, it's available to us through the Akashic Records, which is a whole different subject. So if we want to get more information and we need assistance, Spirit is always there in one way or another. And that fascinates me too. So in a lot of the healing work that I do, of course, there are techniques that I was taught, more importantly, I listen to what I'm being told, to apply the energy, or to focus the energy, or to emphasize the energy in specific areas with the individuals. And I'm guided to provide that energy and guidance and support through the classes that I teach. So I think that's the other thing, is to realize that those voices are not our head sort of going off into space, but they're actually very, very sound guidance that's provided by Spirit. So very fun.
I'm glad that you brought that up, because it's all connected. It's all related. The Akashic Records, the psychics and readers and healers and mediums. We have gotten to the point where we have compartmentalized and grouped. Okay, this one's gifts do that, and et cetera, and we keep separating ourselves, and that's not why we come with these gifts open. We come with them open so that we can unify, so that we can okay, I'm about to say, you mentioned spirits just now. I'm about to say the ones that we're calling star children, and people who are having even extraterrestrial experiences, they are all a part. We're all a part of one. This is a flow that we keep separating, and now is the time to stop separating. I wanted to remark on the DVD that I purchased from you. Awesome.
Oh, good.
Awesome.
Good. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah, I was. I started getting into it, and I noticed myself shifting. And it was like, wow, just following, not even practicing at first what was going on, but especially when she uh, offered the healing
Right.
portion. Okay, there's a part in the DVD where there is a healing uh, energy shift that she offers, and it was like, yes. And so I admit I'm probably really sensitive right about now. But
Yeah,
I think that everybody is becoming more sensitive, shifting more quickly than we realize.
well, two things. One is you're an easy victim, so to speak, because you're already attuned to a lot of this energy anyway.
I,
But nevertheless, I concur with you completely. I have never seen such a large number of people coming forward, being curious about energy work, about qigong, about tai chi, and so on. And really, people are, I think, most importantly, realizing that there's a emptiness in them, and they need to find a way to complete themselves while they're here. And I think they're feeling the pressure that their mission that they signed up for when they came into this reality is something that they can no longer delay.
exactly.
So it's interesting that when people finally accept that there is an opportunity to make that shift, and it starts happening, and then people come together. But I concur with you entirely. There is a shift that is occurring. I know that's all over the internet, all over YouTube, all over many of the meeting groups that exist. And a lot of people are helping to create that shift. And I think it's really, more than anything else, finally listening to your inner voice and saying, I am going to do this from here on out. And things start turning around. For example, here's the reason why I started doing qigong. As I mentioned, I was traveling and so on, and then realizing that the classic doctors, the allopathic system, was not the solution. There was more. Now, sometimes these shifts take place quickly. Other times it takes years because there's so many layers to what we have built up over the years that have to be peeled away like the layers of an onion. But as you practice, and this is the other dirty secret, is the shift won't happen unless you practice your routine, if you will, your form,
Whatever
your
that form
Reiki,
may be.
whatever it is,
Yeah.
And so as you practice that form, basically, number one, you're connected into the energy, right? And
Right.
number two, just like a radio station, you're going to different frequencies in terms of connection. So let's just say very simply, the old AM stations, which there's still a few around, then you go to FM stations, then you go to satellite, and on and on and on. So the practice, which I do daily, and I would encourage everybody to do so consistently, it changes your body
Yes.
physiologically. It changes your mind. It changes your connection to spirit, and everything around you changes. This is the law of attraction.
Mm.
The law of attraction is not just writing down wishes on paper. Obviously, planning is a good thing. I'm a great believer in strategic planning. But ultimately, the shift happens because you have changed your vibration. And so just like two magnets are attracted to each other, stuff comes into your life, whether it's people, circumstances, opportunities, and so on. So I'll give you, for instance, recently, I'm going to go to California in about a month to study with Grandmaster Yang. He's a master of Kung Fu and also Qigong. I was there last summer, and I'm going, geez, I got to pay for that ticket, blah, blah, blah. And I got a letter from Citizens Insurance Company saying, we owe you a check of $500 and change, and we notice you haven't cashed it. Please sign this document and send it back to us. So.
Okay, nice.
Nice.
Very nice. Okay,
So,
ladies, do you have a question for Master Ed? Any questions so far?
None so far. He's speaking my language.
so what are you all practicing, if I may ask? Are you doing Reiki? Are you doing yoga? Are you doing other protocols? What are you doing for yourselves at this time to be in tune, if you will, with universal energy?
Well, for me, I used to practice yoga more frequently. I am not, as far as like, my meditations and outside in nature and doing a few, up and downs outside. But other than that, I mean, I am meditating. I'm doing my spiritual baths, and I chant a lot. I used to be a practicing Buddhist at one point, so I find that when I chant, it opens up my throat chakra unbelievably, and I enjoy that immensely. So that's what I'm doing, and I do see, people, and I do healings also.
That's awesome. Fantastic.
Thank
Yeah,
Well-
I'm glad you brought, sorry, let me just interject something. I'm glad you brought up being outdoors. I used to practice indoors quite a bit,
Mhm.
and obviously I feel the energy just like anywhere else or anybody else would.
Mhm.
But I've been called to do all my practice outdoors because connecting to the 5 elements, barefoot, if you will, outdoors,
Yeah.
is just so incredibly
Yeah.
powerful.
That it is, and I found myself at the beach yesterday with my feet in the sand,
No.
Oh, yeah.
just moving it around, and I went in the ocean, and instead of swimming or doing anything, I was just floating, and that was just I felt the connection in that moment too, and I could feel myself being bathed, but a healing happening. So yeah.
I concur with you completely. Sometimes I do it over here, just behind my apartment in the grass.
Mm-hmm.
But I went to the beach. I guess it was on Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah, I was
And I
there
think
too. Where were you?
I was up in Juno Beach. Actually, if you go to my Facebook page, you'll see the pictures. But I find that every time I go to the beach, the connection is so powerful.
Yes.
And I asked Spirit, so why is it that I always feel so tired after the practice, and I always have to take this nap? And he said, because we're healing your body.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There is no better connection than being outside, directly connected to yin energy and yang energy,
Yes.
and just breathing in that air, especially early in the morning when everything comes alive, all that oxygen is pumping out. So amazing. So I just want to throw that in. Thank you. I apologize. So who's
no,
next?
no.
Wanted to comment.
Sherry was going to say something.
Oh, yeah, I was just going to say, actually, there was somebody that was doing Qigong on Saturdays at a spiritual store here in Miami. It was very close to my house. Apparently, I guess not enough people signed up, so they stopped, but I could kick myself for not doing it. It was actually really close. I've been interested in doing it outside, actually, in a group, but we only have one place, and it's in Key Biscayne, so it's really far for me. Someone here, but I'm definitely interested. But I do a lot outside as well. As a matter of fact, today I do gardening, and I was outside. I'm in the process of doing a butterfly garden.
Wow. Oh, do you know how wonderful? That's like communion. With your hands in the ground, feeling the dirt. I mean, that's the way it's been for mankind forever. So that's when you're really making the connection with spirit, is right there in the garden.
It's very very relaxing. I feel really at peace, and I'm another one that connects to the water. When I do go out there, I get my feet in the sand. The same thing. I just love the sound. It's just beautiful.
Fantastic.
So one of the things that you brought to mind again, this seems to be happening a lot. So all the protocols are great. I think Qigong is extremely valuable, and all it does is enhances what you already know. Somehow or other, for me, why Qigong particularly? I've always had an affinity for Asian things, and once we did a reading for a group, thanks to a channeler for one of the early groups that we did some training for here in Florida. And the question was asked by my Qigong master, Teresa. So, well, what is special about this group here? Why is this group together? And the answer from the entities that this person was channeling was, well, it's very simple. You were all together once before as monks and nuns in the Buddhist temple in China in the 5th century. So I understood my connection as a result of that.
No, that makes sense. That makes sense. I was told when I started doing Reiki that I had obviously been a Reiki master before, and it just seemed to come so naturally. Keisha. Hello, Keisha? Keisha is
Hello.
there, but you just listening, sweetie? Yeah, we were talking about what do we do? What do you do, Keisha?
I'm not doing nothing currently. I know what I want to get back to doing. I was doing yoga in the past. My thing was more is dance, but not really outside, just more of dance. And I feel like you definitely have a vibration when you have any type of form of dance.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you give yourself, mind, body, and soul to whatever endeavor you have, there's an absolute connection. So, yeah, absolutely. That's wonderful.
Okay.
So the other thing that comes to mind, and this is something that I find could be of interest, is that Qigong is something that people are looking for. However, there aren't that many teachers around.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I was considering, and that obviously depends on people, whether they're interested in going with this or not, is actually teaching the classes virtually. So using something like Zoom, and just leading a class. So setting up the camera and everybody just following and so on, which is relatively easy to do. Zoom is a pretty good technology. I guess this one is also pretty good. This meetup site that, what do they call this? Hangout is pretty good too.
The Hangout, yeah.
Yeah. So it's just getting used to the intricacies of the systems, but that is something that I'm contemplating. I just have to put it all together, and teaching the class is not a problem. It's just seeing when and where and what time and so on, and getting people together that way. As long as you have I guess a smartphone and or a laptop, or you can connect your laptops into your TVs. I mean, the technology now is just amazing. So all kinds of options are possible.
I would support an adventure like that. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'll be interested too.
Yes.
I
Um,
too.
yes, okay. Reverend Sharon, are you in on that one? Are you in?
Would love to be in on that one.
Okay. All right. And whenever Robert shows up, I'm sure he would be interested, and he has a small group that follows him. Speaking of small groups, oh, I didn't say what I do. What do I do? I walk around barefoot in my backyard a lot. I do sun gazing, and I do walking meditation, which I learned from the Korean School of Zen quite a while ago. And so usually I'm out there walking around, hugging the trees. It's a good thing there's a fence so that nobody can see me hugging the trees. But no, it does such a feeling. I mean, especially the sun gazing is so powerful. It whatever you're going through, if you can make that connection, it you can feel the interchange, the inner shift. And sometimes I meditate before I do it. Uh, Meditate saying mantras before I do it, like Unisa Vijaya and Namo Rinpoche, that sort of thing.
Hmm.
And I scan the Zohar at least 8 volumes every 24 hours. And I'm sure that if I stopped, you guys would probably hear about this woman. She's running down the street. So, that I have no intention of stopping that. Yeah, that's kind of what I do basically.
You brought up a very good point, which is this energy about hugging the trees. I know some people kind of think it's all silly, but one of the things that I learned in one of the last classes that I took, I guess about a year or so ago, is everything has an energetic signature, because everything that is around us, whether it's a seat that we're sitting on, the walls, cars, books,
Hmm.
etc. Everything has a signature.
Hmm.
And I would encourage you to just test it out. Take a plant, if you have a plant in your home, or even some flowers, whatever it is, and just sit there with your eyes closed and just connect energetically with that plant if you can.
Mm.
And feel what you feel. And do that for about 10, 15 minutes and see what happens.
Hmm.
Then move it away and take something else. Try a spoon or a CD. If people don't have CDs anymore, but a DVD. Take a DVD perhaps. And feel the energy from the DVD.
Hmm.
Even better yet, have a partner or a friend place the items in front of you without telling you what it is that they're presenting to you, and keep your eyes closed so that you have no idea whether it's something that has some kind of life to it, or it's an object that supposedly does not have any life. That is probably the better way. Have somebody do it with somebody and just test each other out. Take turns and see what happens.
That is, I've seen and experienced techniques like that to help more or less in establishing one's psychic abilities. One of the things I noticed as far as Western mythology or technology and Asian technology or perception is that in like yoga or in, say, Tai Chi, Qigong, the emphasis is more on meditating so that all of these things that can be done, these abilities and gifts that we all have, they're there in everyone. But when you start the practice of meditation, doing any of the things that we've discussed that you do, it brings them to the forefront. Just sitting in meditation brings to the forefront your abilities and your talents. I mean, it's like a rocket ship. Once you put a little fuel into it, it's gone.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So the other thing I wanted to just point out, because just because I say what I say, I don't want anybody to necessarily follow my path. Everybody has their own journey, right?
Mm.
And so whatever resonates with you is what you should do, and follow it, and it'll take you where you need to go, and then you'll adjust your trajectory as you go along. I mean, the destination doesn't change. It's the journey that, the path or the flight path that might change somewhere along the line, because there's always some type of turbulence and crosswinds and so on, if you want to use that analogy. My point is this. I started off working mostly with yin energy. However, my kung fu master out in California, he's a master of both yin and yang energy. And his perception, his philosophy is, well, why would you want to sit in meditation for the rest of your life to get that, to become centered? You can do it a lot faster doing martial arts. So whether you go martial arts or you go healing or traditional Chinese medicine, it doesn't matter. Whatever resonates mostly with you is what you want to pursue. So just because I started off with Reiki and with the Qigong side of the spectrum, doesn't matter. I'm now attracted to the Yang side with the Kung Fu. And interestingly, you think about fighting and things along those lines, but ultimately, what you're doing is you're observing and working with the other person's energy and trying to find, not trying, but you're finding a balance so that you're always in control and you're working with their external energy against them. Very interesting. Very interesting. So both ways are good. Whatever makes you happy, whatever you find you're most intrigued by is the path you want to follow. But both of them will bring you to center anyway. It's just a question of what are you most interested in?
Okay, I have a question, and then I wanted to bring up something you mentioned on Saturday. I noticed in the DVD that, and I noticed it in the class on Saturday. At one point, women are told you put your left hand over your abdomen, and the males are told to put the right hand over the abdomen. And so I'm sure that I have grokked what that represents, but I wanted to hear your explanation.
Well, the easy answer is it's tradition. But obviously the left hand is yin energy and the right hand is yang energy. It's just the way, but it is tradition. And that's the conclusion I've come to. I've asked the same question and said, don't bother us with the details. Just do it the way we told you.
But it's not
Oh my goodness.
that is joining male and female energies? I mean, or you just,
yeah.
This is...
So what we do is when we bring our hands together over our abdomen, we are actually placing the center of our palms on each other. You're familiar with the Lao Gong? You know what the Lao Gong are? No? Let me explain. So if you take your middle finger and you curl it to the center of your palm,
Oh yeah.
that is your Lao Gong. and that is an energy center where healing energy is projected.
Oh,
Mm.
oh, I love it. I learned something.
Yeah.
Woo.
And also, when you're sitting in the lotus position, and for those of us that can bend our legs still like a Gumby, the bottoms of your feet are actually turned upwards,
Mhm.
and at the center of the bottom of your foot, just in between the heel and the ball of your foot, there's an energy center there as well.
Mhm.
So when you're talking about, hey, I put my feet in the sand, it felt so good, etc.
Mm.
Well, you had just plugged into yin energy. You plugged into Mother Earth, right?
Mhm.
Mhm.
So when you turn all of those things upward, when you're meditating, your palms are up and your bottoms of your feet are up,
Mhm.
you're drawing universal energy in.
Mhm.
Mhm. Definitely.
So that's
Awesome.
that's why we center our palms over each other, and we place them over. Depending on the form, you do it on your abdomen by your navel, or more precisely, if you're trying to build up your energy in your dantian. The dantian is the third burner and the most powerful power center. The Chinese have three, which is in your head, your heart, and your lower abdomen. Um, so we place it there, and we do this abdominal breathing, and it just builds it up. You can actually spend, half an hour, an hour. You can even do abdominal breathing when you're driving. Anyway, those are all details, but that's a long-winded answer to your question.
Mm. No, this is why this is here. This is why we are here. This information needs to be on the airwaves for people who may not be here right now. When they turn in later, when they go on to look for one of my podcasts, oh, pardon me, they will hear it. And those who don't tune in will still feel it in the vibration of the energy as it goes in.
Mhm.
So this is a frequency, and we're spreading this out on the frequency, and it's a good thing. Sherry, what's up?
Oh, I was just gonna say the lesson that I'm working on. They were doing something similar. Is they tell you to put on your abdomen the left hand and then close the right nostril and then force the air out. To do that 3 times, and then you switch hands and do it the left nostril with the right hand.
Hmm.
They didn't say why, so I was going to ask Ed, what is that the same thing as like balancing the energy, or what is that doing?
Yeah, I mean, it's more of a yogic practice, but
Hmm.
it does involve balancing the energies, because there is a left and the right side, and you want to make sure that everything is always balanced. I mean, that's the whole point of the practice, is we want balance. That's the whole idea behind the yin yang symbol. There has to be a balance. So absolutely. I mean, it's just not clearing sinuses and improving your breath work, but also it's left brain, right brain, right?
Mhm.
Exactly.
Or imbalance?
Exactly. In psychology, they tell you that the dopamine is affected when you breathe that way. That I don't think they've made the connection from yoga to psychology yet, but they're working on it. But
Mhm.
basically, the dopamine is affected when you breathe in that manner. You're flooding the area with oxygen, and it can and has been proven to calm a person down without pharmaceuticals. So this is that you're sending the air in, right brain, left brain, and that technique has been found to be very helpful with people who are bipolar.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The other thing that I wanted to point out, one of the reasons that yoga and qigong and tai chi and kung fu are so beneficial, is because we increase our intake of air and therefore oxygen. We are traditionally very shallow breathers compared to what we used to be. Think about the manual labor that people used to do, a century ago compared to what we do now. I mean, probably the most exercise we get these days is to sit at a keyboard 8 hours a day, which is terrible. But it is what it is. So the oxygenation of the body is absolutely vital. And it helps to dispel, first of all, to increase circulation, increases the repair that enhances the repairing that the body is able to do for itself. And also, the more oxygen we have, the less likelihood there is of diseases coming into our body. And also, just as importantly, reversing any disease or unhealthiness that we may have, so that we can be a healthy vehicle for what we need to do here. So oxygen is absolutely vital, both for well-being and for repairing. Absolutely amazing.
Wow. This is all good stuff. This is all stuff that needs to be reiterated, we put it on a loop. And this is, I guess, one of the reasons my spirits, guides, or I'm not going to give them a name right now. I've already gotten into enough trouble. But it's good for this information to be exposed for people who are ready to receive it. You mentioned on Saturday that you have a once a month group meeting of psychics and healers and mediums. If you could tell us a little bit about that, please.
Sure. Well, it's going on almost 4 years for sure, and probably started into our 5th year at this point. But I met up with these people, with a number of people. I guess when my father passed away, I started hearing voices. Or let's put it this way, I started acknowledging the voices, more importantly.
There you go.
And as a result of that, I said, geez, I just became curious. And so I started going to a wonderful lady who's in your neck of the woods, Deidre Abrami. I'm sure you've heard of her and seen her advertising in the Natural Awakenings. And she used to hold, she has a couple of courses a year, I think. Anyway, long story short, I went to it. And we felt that it would be a good thing to hang together because we were curious, we wanted to expand and grow in our gifts, and didn't want to feel that we were completely out of place, although obviously we're a little bit different than the rest of the world out there. And so we just decided to continue to meet on a regular basis. And I think there were a dozen people to begin with. And now it's grown to a group of about 50 or so, where not everybody comes together, all 50 every single month, but there's a core group of about 15 to 20 people. And we meet monthly. And they are intuitives and healers. And all involved in wanting to continue to expand their knowledge. We always have a speaker or possibly two at each meeting. And most importantly, we feel comforted by the fact that we're all on the same path, although we follow different protocols and do different things. That we're able to share our energy with each other. The only way I can explain it is we're all jumping into a swimming pool, and we're all sharing the same water. I mean, the energy that we feel when we're with one another is absolutely amazing.
Wow.
So I call this a soul group, if you will, and it's people. Some people come and they're there for a couple of meetings, and you don't see them again. I guess they just needed to get whatever they needed to get, and then they kind of walk away from the group. But others have been there for quite some time, and I'm very honored to be the coordinator for the group. So. We put on regular meetings. We're not doing it for the summer. We just had our last meeting in June, but our next one will be formal one would be in September, the first Wednesday of September, and that's held at the library in Palm Beach Gardens on Campus Drive. So if anybody's interested, you're welcome to join us, and I'm sure you'll find it very beneficial. If you're down in Miami, it might be a little bit of a long way for you, but if you're closer by, like maybe down Delray and other places that are close by, it's probably worth your trip coming up this way. The only other event I can think of that's in between now and then is we have a on the 21st of August, we have an eclipse that's going to happen, which is a solar eclipse. So that the sun will be obscured, and I thought it would be fun to get together some of the people, whoever's going to show up. Some people are on vacation, obviously might be away, but I'll be back from California at that point, and we could do something over here at my clubhouse at the Congo Association, and we'll just get together, do a potluck dinner or something like that. So.
So this would be an event where the energy that is being related or transferred. In other words, this would be an event where people are going to sit and meditate when this energy is coming through, because that represents or is a portal that's going through a transformation at that point.
Usually I rely upon Hattie, who is our local. She's actually down in, where is she? She's in Delray, I think. She's our astrologer, numerologist, tarot card specialist, and I listen to what she has to say. And she usually gives us the insight as to the importance of this particular event. We just did this with the summer solstice, which was, I guess it was the 21st, was it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so she gave us some insights which were really amazing. I don't know when the eclipse is. It at the time of the eclipse. I know it's on the 21st, but I don't know what time it is.
I think it's 2 in the afternoon.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Yeah, but also too, I heard that in Florida, I think it's only 80% visible.
Oh.
Like it's not going to be a total.
Okay. Well, it's still pretty good.
Yeah.
So, the thing is that this is not going to happen for another, I think it's 22 years or something like that. So this is a great opportunity.
Oh, yeah.
For all of us to get together. And obviously as intuitives, we feel that energy pretty intensely. So I just thought it would be fun to gather the group together and see what happens, basically. But we'd get some insights from Hattie, and then, we just have the opportunity of introducing one another, and then we might do a meditation together and kind of go from there. But what I've also found is that besides what I just described earlier about the reason why the group exists, is we enjoy being together. So we like to socialize, and we all have our families, our lives, etc. But it's fun to get together and just kind of bathe in that energy with one another.
Well, the saying from scripture is, whenever two or more are gathered, and there is something special about having another person in with the what is it, the like mind, they say.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you're what you're doing is you're magnifying the energies.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Because with the old mathematical formula, what is the sum of 1 plus 1?
Very good, very good. I think. Go ahead, sweetie.
Okay, I have a really quick question before he goes. Talking about the energy. Um, Anytime you're working with energy or there's a frequency like in Qigong, do you also have to create sacred space like you do for any time you're working with energy?
I'll give you a long-winded, for instance. I wanted to step out, and so I decided to join an event that was organized by a planner for the community, and it was kind of like a business expo, if you will. And if you've been to any kind of expo, whether it's a holistic expo or any other kind of expo, it's not the most peaceful place in the world, right? And in fact, I said, well, I just want to have a corner booth. And so the organizer said, you got it. So I went to set up that day, and sure enough, I got a corner booth right by the entrance, which was perfect, right? But guess who was right next to me? The DJ. So, it's like, oh,
Yeah.
You just kind of work with what you got. And it turns out that it didn't make any difference. You just compose yourself to do what you need to do for the person that you're with, and the energy just comes through. Yeah, it's nice to have, candles burning and incense, if people tolerate that kind of thing, because some people are very sensitive to all kinds of aromas and so on. But it doesn't matter. I mean, as Reverend Sharon said, we were on the beach and I was just doing energy. I mean, there's no preparation. It's like, boom, there it is, and we do it, right?
Oh, it was fantastic.
So you just have to realize that Source is there. Source is there to serve humanity through you to do the work that needs to be done. It doesn't really matter. Could you improve on it? Sure. It makes you feel good, but it's not necessary. You just have to trust. That's the whole point of it, is to trust Source. Trust the energy. It is smarter than we are. It knows where it needs to go. It'll do the work that needs to be done if, and this is the other corollary I want to leave with you, is if the recipient is open to receive. If they are not, it's not going to have an impact. And I know that's difficult for us as healers to accept because we want to heal the world. But some people have a contract and have not modified it, right? They have a contract that they're going to go through that suffering, and they're just going to stay with it. So, it depends upon the recipient. And I've gone through this with several people at different levels. I mean, even my acupuncturist, I said, geez, what about this person? I said, well, if that person is not willing to open their mind to it, it's not going to make any difference.
Exactly.
Or very little difference. It's going to have maybe a very minimal impact, but they have to be on board. They have to be a participant in the healing process because we don't heal them. They have to accept the energy and heal themselves. Make sense?
Makes a lot of sense.
I can back that up with the placebo theory, or placebo syndrome, as it's called. People who are healed by tablets made of sugar or a sugar substance, a syrup of some kind, no medicine in it whatsoever. And the amusing thing about it is that doing this, and they do this, they use the sugar-based pills all the time now. Then originally it was used to determine if the pharmaceuticals were doing their function. It was never the idea to see if people could heal themselves through that was never a part of the original program. But people started healing themselves to the point where they realized that more people were being healed that were taking the sugar pills than were taking the medicines. Right. And so now it's obvious, and people are like, whoa. But I know of a couple of cases where people had cancer and they didn't know they were taking sugar pills. That's the whole key in the research on this.
Right.
You cannot let people know that they're not taking medicine, and they heal from something that's not medical. And so that's proof right there. It is what you think.
It's incredible. You're absolutely correct. And I'm glad you brought that up. And I saw that study, being circulated again recently. I think it was Harvard Medical. I can't remember. But if you Google it, I'm sure you'll find it. But it's absolutely correct. So the power of the mind is absolutely astonishing.
Yes.
Astonishing. But you have to be on board. I mean, you have to be in the cockpit, so to speak. Otherwise, it's not going to work.
Mm. Anything else? We lost Keisha. Anything else, ladies, before we let this gentleman go? It is 9 o'clock. I don't think Robert's going to make it in. I don't want to keep our
Wow,
guests.
it's been an hour already.
Oh, yeah, it's been an hour already. When you're doing good stuff, that's what happens.
Yeah.
So any last comments, ladies, or questions or
I have one
statements?
last question.
Go ahead.
Edward. I am premenopausal right now. And meaning, do you find that Qigong will help someone, meaning such as myself or women like me that are menopausal or premenopausal? What would you say to that?
Yeah, absolutely. I would encourage you to go see a traditional Chinese medicine doctor. What part of the are you in Palm Beach County or Broward or where?
I'm in Homestead, Miami.
Homestead. Homestead. Yeah, why don't you seek out? There's I'm trying to remember who she. Anyway, find a acupuncturist doctor in Florida. They are very comprehensive in terms of what they do. They do both homeopathic remedies, herbs, and stuff like that, as well as acupuncture, and also do qigong with it because it'll help for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm all about doing things holistically, and it'll help considerably. Absolutely.
Okay. Wonderful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And Sherry, did you have something to say, a statement or a question before you go?
No, I think he pretty much answered. Like I said, if he can get something set up, like he said, virtual, and we could do that because I have a friend that actually, she lives on a canal. So we have the water running by in her backyard and she has crystals everywhere. It's amazing energy. And her and I take our shoes off and walk around quite a bit out there. So it'd be perfect setup for something like that.
Oh.
Definitely.
Well, I'll let Reverend Sharon know about it, and we'll kind of go from there. But I would encourage you, those of you that are going to do things in the garden, what I do is I actually spray my feet with some kind of organic bug. I don't like to say killer, but it just keeps them away. They're not attracted because there's some fire ants out there, and that hurts. I've been bitten before.
Yeah.
So just make sure that you protect yourself, or choose a spot where they're not there. You can usually see where they are. But yeah, I'll let you guys know when that's going to happen.
Okay, great.
We will stay informed. Before I do the closeout mantra, Reverend Sharon, you have something coming up in the future?
Well, not until July, so I got a ways to go. I will be appearing at a new venue, which is Exhale Miami, or Inhale or Exhale Miami. It's a new place I'm learning about. But anyway, it's on the 15th of July, and I'm still getting the particulars. So as of right now, we're just still trying to get everything up and running. I'll be on Blog Talk next week, Wednesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we set our intention for the day, and I do a spiritual affirmation, or I have everyone recite a spiritual affirmation, And then from there, I'll do like a guided meditation.
Excuse me.
No
It's
problem.
okay.
And then we'll just open up the phone lines for anyone that is in need of spiritual guidance. So we do that every Wednesday morning on Blog Talk at 10 a.m. The Merging
Okay.
Spirit Radio Show. Thank you.
Okay. And I just would like to remind people that I'm not shunning readers and psychics and mediums. What I'm trying to get everyone to remember is that we're all a part of the same tribe. We may have different ways of doing things, and I'd like to see more inclusion of the star seeds and those people who have been influenced by, we call them spirits. They may be intergalactics from other dimensions, whatever we want to call them. Now is the time to start unifying in our shift. Thank you so much, Master Edward.
Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it. It was an honor.
Oh, it was fantastic to have you. You know you can't get rid of me now. I know where you live. All
Anytime,
right.
anytime.
Okay. This is a mantra that I became very fond of when I was spending a little time in the ashram with Baba Muktananda Paramahansa. And so every once in a while I burst out in public or not when I'm not by myself. So you're welcome to join along if you like.
Sure.
But it's Om Namah Shivaya. And I used to like this. I still like it. It's still practiced. It's not going anywhere. Okay, deep breath. Eyes closed. And we start. Om. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om. And good night. And
Good
God
night.
bless.
Thank you.
Om Shanti Shanti. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you.
Hey,
You're welcome.
night.
God bless.
Good night, everyone.
Good night. God bless.
Night.
God bless.
Bye-bye.